with me, you know. She was, no, Amber was fine with me.
Did you ever see or hear any arguments between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
When you say see, I heard. I mean, I could hear at times in certain accommodations we'd be staying at. I could hear Amber, yeah, screaming, you know. I could hear shouting and bawling, and yeah, I could hear it going on, yeah. But I mean, I wasn't there every single night. When we're working in the UK, there's nights maybe I'd get home because Jerry would be there. But yeah, I did hear. Yeah, definitely for a fact. I could hear sometimes the shouting and bawling. You know, it's mostly I could hear Amber screaming. You know.
And about how, I recognize this was years ago, but can you estimate for us how regularly that happened?
I can't say regularly. I can't say it was like every day, but you know, it got more regular. It got more often than not.
Did you ever witness any physical violence between the two of them?
No, never. I'd never seen any physical violence. It's not a thing. It's not a thing people would do in front of security. It's not a thing that would happen in front of myself or Jerry Judge or Sean Bett or something. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. No, I never seen any physical security. I never seen any hands-on. No.
Okay, what do you mean you never saw any hands-on?
Well, I never seen any slapping or grabbing or punching or hitting. I never seen any of that physically. I tell you what, there was an instance, maybe two incidents that come to my mind. One incident was on a private plane. I can't recall if it was a domestic flight or an international flight. I'm sitting, Johnny and Amber, or Johnny, whoever he's flying with, will sit up at the foretable. There's a foretable up aft, and myself and my colleagues will sit down the forward end of the plane. So I usually look up the fuselage that way, with my back to the nose. Amber had her back to me, Johnny sitting across the table, and there's a bit of bickering going on. I can't hear because, you know, you're talking about jet craft. I can't actually hear, and it's more animated than verbal. And I see a lighter, a plastic lighter, bounce off his chest. Boom, bounce off his chest. So right away I think, well, this is going to escalate. Or it's either going to go one way or the other. I don't think it came to much. I remember Johnny just sort of, you know, smirking and looking away as if to say, you know, well, what is that? It kind of attitude, you know. And Johnny tips his hat, puts his head against the window, and whoa, I'm out, you know. Another time, I was at the loft apartment. I was in the security room in the loft apartments with a security guard called. Do you know what? I can't recall if it was Sean Bett or a guy called Donovan. Anyway, I got the text. I was down there to pick him up to go to the West Hollywood accommodation, and I got the text.
Objection. No. To the extent he's going to talk about what the text is, that's hearsay.
You can just tell us what you observed without recounting the content of the text.
Okay. I'm instructed to go and get Johnny, and because we're leaving.
Objection. He just said what he was instructed to do.
All right, I'll sustain the objection if you can.
What did you do after you received the text?
I go to the loft apartment. The door's ajar slightly, just a we call a crack in the door. Push the door open and I go in. Shouting. There's a bit of shouting going on. I can't hear. I'm in the wrong area of the apartment. But as I turn to the left into the more of the lounge area, there's a soda can. I don't know if it's a Coca-Cola or a Sprite or I don't know what it was. But it's launched from the mezzanine, and Johnny's had this huge TV, the biggest TV I've ever seen. In fact, but this, and it's on this mechanical arm, which is an actual piece of artwork that Johnny had got commissioned. And anyway, this big mechanical arm holds this TV. So this can of pop, you want to call it pop, smashes on that, but by force, let me add, because it made a bang, boom. And all I can hear is it spraying all over the place. Johnny has already got his jacket on and a bag over his shoulder. That's why he's called me in, because we're leaving. I just pick up the other bags, 2 bags, pick up the 2 bags, put my hand through Johnny's arm and say, right, boss, we're leaving. We walk out the door. We walk out the door and we go. Halfway to the West Hollywood, Johnny's already calmed down, you know, he's like, oh, man, can you...
Objection to the extent he's talking, what Mr. Depp is saying.
All right, I'll sustain that objection. Continue.
If you have, I think we can move on.
Okay, yeah. All right. Next question.
Just to clarify, Mr. Connolly, when the soda can was launched from the mezzanine, where was Mr. Depp in relation to where the soda can landed?
Probably 10 feet, maybe 10 feet back from that. 10 feet back from that.
Okay, and just to make sure we're on the same page, when you refer to the loft apartments, what are you referring to?
The downtown LA Eastern Building.
Okay. What was your? Did you form any understanding as to where, as to who had thrown the soda can?
Objection, speculation.
You know,
Okay. Oh, hold on, sir.
Speculation, foundation.
I'm just asking him if he formed an understanding, and he can state the basis for that if he did.
Wait, if you want to lay a foundation.
Did you to your knowledge, was Ms. Heard present in the apartment at the time?
Objection leading.
yes.
I'll allow
I could
it.
hear her. I never seen her physically, but I could hear her voice. Yes.
Okay. And where did her? Could you tell where her voice was coming from?
Upstairs, just upstairs.
Okay.
She wasn't on the lower apartment with us, so I can only imagine she was upstairs.
Other than the cigarette lighter and the soda can, anything else similar to that you observed?
No, I can't say no.
Did you ever observe any physical injuries on Miss Heard?
Never, no.
How about on Mr. Depp?
Yeah, yes. It started off with maybe a scratch once in a while, a swelling, but it got more. It got more. Yeah, I'm not talking. He was marked every week or every 2 weeks, but yeah, he sustained marks. Yeah, definitely. He was getting marked.
And can you describe for us what you can remember?
Objection, Your Honor. Can we
present
burn
service.
for
Okay.
a minute?
All right. Hold on, Mr. Connolly, for a minute.
So, Mr. Connolly, you can continue responding. I think the question was just, can you generally describe for us what you remember about the marks you saw on Mr. Depp?
Yes, as I was saying, in the prison service, you're taught to pick up, log in your mind, mental logging in your mind, marks, bruises, bully patterns, stuff. What I noticed right away was most of these marks and most of these things through my training is happening in the left-hand side of his face, and it would be scratches on his neck, maybe a fat lip in the corner, maybe a bruising on the eye socket. dull impacts, you know, except for obviously the scratches, maybe on his left ear. Sometimes it'd be two marks, two lines, two trams, one. Yeah, you know, yeah. And it was getting more regular. As I say, not every week, but it was definitely happening. Yeah.
Can we see Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, please? And Mr. Connolly, are you able to see the picture on, I assume you can see it on your screen.
Yeah, just can I thank you, please? Yeah, hi, yeah.
And do you...
yeah, I know that picture. I took that picture.
You took the
picture's on the... Yeah, I took the picture.
Can you just quickly tell us what this picture is?
This picture is Miss Heard and Johnny's honeymoon on the Orient Express on the East Line from Bangkok to Singapore. You travel through Malaysia, stopping at Kuala Lumpur and a few other places on the way down. And that is in the dining coach, I think. Yeah, dining coach, that's what that is. The guy on the left there with the silver band around he's the waiter. He's the waiter with the detail to look after us. The guy in the bow tie, he's guest relations manager.
Mr. Connolly, just hold on one second. Before we continue describing the document, I'd move for the admission of Plaintiff's Trial Exhibit 162 and that it be published to the jury.
Any objection?
I'd like to approach it.
Okay. You can publish it.
All right, and Mr. Connolly, I apologize for cutting you off, but could you just continue to describe for us what we're looking at in this picture?
Yeah, as I said, the guy in the bow tie, he's guest relations manager. He was detailed to, you know, fix us up anything we needed, you know, to excursions and transports and stuff. Then it's Miss Heard. The guy, that's the chef who looked after he cooked for us. He's a great chef, by the way. Yeah, he looked after us, and that's Johnny. And I also noticed, if you look at that picture, like I said, on the left-hand side, under his eye, there's a swelling. And you see a swelling just on the left-hand side of his nose and under his left eye.
And what do you interpret that swelling to be?
What do I interpret it as? That's either he's walked into a door or a door's walked into him.
Okay. Can you tell us anything, and we can take this down, I think. Thank you. Mr. Connolly, can you tell us, well, first of all, do you recall what year Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard went on their honeymoon in the picture we were just looking at?
That would, I don't know, is it 2013? 2013?
Okay, and were you, well, you testified that you took the picture, so you were there, I assume?
Absolutely, yes.
What can you tell us about that trip generally, and particularly focused on how Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard were interacting with each other?
Started off good. Johnny's cabin was maybe 15 metres down the corridor from mine. There was no cabins in between. That was like storerooms, like, you know, blankets and cutlery and stuff. So the cabin was quite not a big massive distance, but you know, it wasn't like the trip started fine, absolutely fine. I think it was 5 days maybe. 2 days, 3 days into the trip, I can see Johnny going down. I can see him coming down, you know. He's just not enjoying this. He's not enjoying this. But you know, I can't. It's not my business to step in and that. I just do my job. But I can see he's not enjoying this. He's not happy. He's not happy.
Did you ever observe any arguments between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard in this time frame?
Just not arguments, but some frostiness. Miss Heard sort of demanded that we have our own dining cart, if you like. So me doing my job, I inquire to the guest relations guy there that you've seen in the photograph, and he quite rightly tells me that there's other
Objection,
VIPs
hearsay.
in the
Objection,
train.
hearsay.
All right. Objection to hearsay. All right.
I think we can move on.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
sustain the objection. Next question.
All right, so Mr. Connolly, well, taking a step back for a minute and changing topics slightly, have you ever seen Mr. Depp use any drugs? I don't think
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Yes, I've seen him smoke marijuana. I had my suspicions. I have my suspicions that when he goes off to the bathroom, he probably does a bit of cocaine. I've never seen him do it, as Mr. Depp would never do a line or anything of cocaine in front of me, or Jerry Judge, or Sean Bett, or anybody. Johnny Depp would never compromise my license, my position, and embarrass me like that. It wouldn't happen. So, to answer to your question, I've seen him smoke weed, yes.
You noticed any particular, what changes, if any, have you noticed in his behavior when he's under the influence of marijuana?
To be honest, a bit more relaxed, no sort of uptight. But he's not out of his head. He's perfectly functioning. I mean, you can talk about anything, any conversation you want to talk about. He's neither up nor down with that. He really isn't. He's got a very high tolerance for any substance, Johnny. I would say so. I think Jack Sparrow's more drunk than Johnny Depp, to be honest.
So, okay, so that's marijuana. What about alcohol? Same question.
He used to like a wine, and the last I would say the last couple of years, that's dropped drastically as well. It's in my last year with Johnny, it's quite actually rare now. It's not rare, but he's not a big boozer now. He's not a boozer now. He's not. And he was never out of his head in wine. He was never, I think I've seen drunk in the 20 odd years I've been with Johnny. I think I've seen him drunk twice. But when I say drunk, I mean drunk. Other than that, there's not a lot of difference in Johnny's demeanour or behaviour. Well, he's drinking alcohol or smoking weed,
Okay. And finally, same question for the time periods when you formed the suspicion that he was under the influence of cocaine.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, could you ask me that again?
What changes in his behavior, if any, did you observe on those occasions when you suspected, but didn't know for sure, that he was under the influence of cocaine?
Well, again, due to the training I had in the HMP prison service, it just seemed a bit more, I don't know, happier, up, not so down, But I wouldn't say he's not leaping around kicking his heels or anything. He pick his guitar up and then he gets right into his guitar, and there's no major changes really. He's fine.
Okay. Now you mentioned you traveled with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard on their